Hello and welcome back. Thank you for joining me. Diabetes, what do you know about it? Quite a debilitating disease. What I'd like to do in this recording is twofold. Firstly, I'd like to provide you with some statistics in the UK and also the US. And also I'd like to provide you with some distinctions that you could make, whether you've been labelled with it or whether you'd like to prevent it. Either or are always good ideas. So, type 1 diabetes is called child onset, and usually it's identified at a young age and is controlled by medication. Type 2 diabetes is adult onset, again can be controlled by medication, and is usually brought on by poor environmental, or let's call them lifestyle choices that were made. Now, if the stats are right, in the UK there are just over 2.5 million people who have been labelled with diabetes, that's type 1 and type 2. And there has been a 74% increase since 1997 and 2003. Type 1 hasn't changed too much, but type 2 has. Wow, that is an incredible statistic. And obviously still no cure for it. That's because they're looking in the wrong place. They're looking at treating the disease rather than trying to prevent it and allow the body to do that, but we'll go into that in a moment. The other thing is that over 500,000 people in the UK are actually diabetics and don't even know it. Interesting. And over 80% of people that have been labelled as a diabetic, they're weight challenged, they're overweight, they're obese. Interesting. In the US, 23.6 million people have been labelled with diabetes. That means 8% of the population. In the UK, it's about 4%. It's costing in the UK 1 million every hour just to treat the disease. That's 10% of the NHS budget goes towards treating diabetes. What do you think you could do to prevent or even reverse diabetes? Think about it. Now, there's a gentleman called Dr. Gabriel Cousens who's written a book called There Is a Cure for Diabetes, and just go to amazon.co.uk and you can buy your own copy. And this gentleman runs a 3-week program where he has had a success rate of between 90 and 95%. That's right, 90 to 95% of people labelled with type 2 diabetes have had it reversed. Interesting. There's a support group in Kendal that I bumped into when I was giving a presentation at the Castle Street Centre. And as soon as I mentioned that it was reversible, one lady said, "I don't want to listen to this dogma," and she walked out. What is she doing? She's keeping the disease alive. And then she wheels out a gentleman who's had his leg amputated. But they're keeping the disease alive by focusing on the disease, rather than looking for another place, like how we can empower or strengthen the immune system. You see, our 50 trillion cells plus in our body are only designed to do one thing, and that's to keep us healthy. But what we choose to do are twofold to create a disease. One is a deficiency. If you have a deficiency in your body, as we know with vitamin C to scurvy, vitamin B1 to beriberi, vitamin D to rickets, also you need calcium, magnesium and vitamin K, but they're all deficiencies. So if we've got a deficiency in any of those micronutrients, then they lead to a disease. The other way of creating it is called toxicity. So if you've got metal fillings in your mouth, you're still drinking fluoride and chlorine in your water, you're still using aluminium on your sprays, then here's my tidbit. Don't apply anything to the biggest organ on your body, which is your skin, which will then challenge the second biggest organ, which is your liver, unless you would eat it. So by simply making some lifestyle changes or choices, I say choices because you've got to be conscious to make these, you can take control of your health and prevent it from happening. Absolutely, 100% you can for type 2 diabetes. However, Dr. Cousens has also had an incredible percentage change for people that he's cured with type 1, not as high as type 2. What I have found for some research is if you are a mother to-be or a mum-to-be, or say you're already pregnant or you're thinking of having a child, then get your vitamin D count up to at least 60 nanograms per milliliter. Go to grassrootshealth.org if you want to go and buy your own kit and start taking some liquid or some D3, but ensure that the D3 you take doesn't contain magnesium stearate. That's just used as a filler, but it's quite toxic. But the other thing is omega-3. So again, if you are a mum-to-be or you wanting to become pregnant, then ensure that your omega-3 count is higher than your omega-6 and 9. You can do that by obviously buying some good fish oils that don't contain cadmium, mercury, heavy metal, PCBs and all the rest of it. So simple lifestyle changes or choices that you could make which can prevent and or reverse. Well, what do you think this Dr. Cousins is going to have in his program? Well, I can guarantee you that he's going to be inspiring people to consume foods that are as alive as they are. So here's my tidbit. You have a far smarter or better choice to make if the product you're about to eat is deader than you are. Interesting. Because if you consume a dead product, in order to be absorbed, digested, metabolized and eliminated, it will obviously cost more than it delivers to you. That's where it leads to deficiency, which equals then a disease. So although that 90% of what's sold in our superstores, over 90% is denatured, dysfunctional and dead, you have a better choice to make right now by realizing that unless it's a fruit, vegetable or meat, nuts, pulses, seeds, beans, seaweed and all the rest of it, you can choose more wisely. Isn't that so empowering? So just a reminder, I gave you the stats, I don't want to go through them again. The bottom line, it's a very debilitating disease. It leads to amputation in the lower limbs, it leads to blindness, cardiac problems, circulatory problems, and you can prevent it. The other thing with just some of the solutions, get to bed by 10, start eating alive foods, stay away from the products. I would say, 99% of the population's addicted to sugar. It's a class A drug, it's socially acceptable for them to be addicted to it, and it leads to diseases. But they're so addicted to it. And I realise it's hard because I too had to break away and change my lifestyle. Over to you, without being too serious about it. Creative movements is another one. Do some walking and some gardening daily. Do some cycling, go to a Tai Chi or a Qigong class, go and do some yoga, do something, I don't know, just do some meditation and breathe fully and deeply. We were designed to be active. Inactivity, again, will lead to a disease. My love to you all. Have fun. Bye for now.